We're learning Tanya by the Alter Rebbe. We are in chapter 12, basically in the middle of the second page 17 or 33 of chapter 12. Line starts Mitzvah Satoira. The Alter Rebbe is just explaining what a beinoni is. The whole book is about a beinoni, an intermediate person. And the Alter Rebbe is going to explain what's the difference between a beinoni and a tzaddik. An intermediate person or a righteous person. What the Alter Rebbe said until now is that when this guy, intermediate person, is praying, he's on fire for God, loving, fearing, and so on. Why? Because there's a help from above to actually help him to feel, to have this feeling. But when prayer finishes, he goes back to his previous state, so to speak. He's not actually feeling excitement for God, but still he controls his passions in thought, speech, and action in a way that he doesn't give room for the passions to actually express themselves. Now, let's move on the text. Even though this person actually controls his emotions, his thought, speech, and action, we're not saying while he's praying. While he's praying, his emotions are on fire again. But right now, this guy is not praying. The rest of the day, you can't pray the whole day. That the Talmud actually says, Alevai, it will be a good thing to pray the whole day. Why? Because of this exact same thing. While you're praying, you're feeling love for God, and you're not doing stupid things. But when you finish praying, okay, we feel love for other things. So in this case, again, this is not called a tzaddik, a righteous person. Why not? Because this overpowering of the light of the godly soul over the darkness and stupidity of the impurity that is automatically displaced is just on the three garments mentioned before: thought, speech, and action, defined in chapter 4. And this overpowering of, so to speak, good over evil within the person, the beinoni, the intermediate person, is not from the essence of the godly soul, of the good part, over the essence of the bad part. Important to mention, at least briefly, that in Tanya, intellect and emotions are the essence of the soul. In other words, the Alter Rebbe says, no, it's much deeper than that. The intellect and the emotions are just expressions of the soul. But in Tanya, they are called the essence. It's not a problem. The point over here is that there's not a ruling of one soul over another soul. No. There's a ruling of one soul over the garments of a person. In other words, going back to chapter 9, the two kings fighting for one city and so on. We have two kings, actually, this godly soul, the animal soul, and so on, fighting for what? For the garments of the king, so to speak. The person, the body, the garments. So the godly soul has the power, enough power, to control the garments of the body, thought, speech, and action. כי מהוסה ועצמוסה של הנפש הבאמיס שמהקליפה שבחר על השמאלי, because the essence of the animal soul that comes from the shell, impurity, and so on, chapter 6, 7 of Tanya 8, that are in the left part of the heart, that's chapter 9, is not displaced at all from its place in the intermediate person. Acharat fila, after prayer. What's the difference between prayer and after prayer? Because after prayer, he doesn't have a fiery love for God revealed in the right part of his heart. He's not feeling it. During prayer, because he contemplates on God and meditates and so on, the beinoni feels this love for God. Like the heart pumping stronger and so on, he feels it. And that completely overpowers any thought, any speech, action he would like to do or would do and so on, forget it. Completely gone. What is this guy feeling after prayer? Okay, I got it. Again, I repeat this. When the guy is praying, he's feeling love for God. When the guy is not praying, what is he feeling inside of him? What helps him overpower the evil parts within himself? He's feeling he's inside, rotzuf ava, full of love, but meseteres, hidden love. Alter Rebbe is going to explain this in chapter 18, what it means. There's a hidden love, she'ava atibis shebenefesh ha'elokis. And this is the natural love that the godly soul has for God, as is going to be explained later. That means chapter 18. One important point over here, because we're learning and trying to adapt this for non-Jews. So we explained in chapter 2 a whole explanation about the godly soul and so on. Non-Jews, according to Kabbalah, according to Hasidus, don't have this godly soul. But there is, in my humble opinion, something that can be compared to Ava Meseiteres, this hidden love for God. What is that? As we explained, if I don't remember wrong, that there's a inner drive in the whole creation to get reconnected to God. When God separated in the second day of creation between the higher waters and lower waters and so on, and the lower waters complained, this is what we explained in chapter 2, if I don't remember wrong, then that means that the lower waters are the whole creation, and the whole creation is complaining to God. We want to be connected to you. And that feeling, so to speak, it's within all the creation. In other words, that's why every single person in the world, I don't know everybody, of course, but I would say every single person in the world is searching. Some forget about it. Why? Because they have money, they have whatever, beauty, alcohol, or drugs, or whatever they want, and they forget about this search. They think they found already the answer to the search, but other people are continuously searching and searching. There has to be something more. What's life? To eat pizza and sushi, that's the whole life? There has to be something more. So I want to compare, and this is my thing, I haven't seen this written anywhere, I want to compare that, that which the Alter Rebbe says, Ahava Meseiteres, a hidden love for God, with that feeling that is injected in the creation. From the second day of creation, even before man, creation wants to be connected to God. Why am I far from God? I want to feel God. So going back over here, what is the Alter Rebbe saying, besides the idea of Jews or non-Jews? What is the Alter Rebbe saying over here? The Alter Rebbe is saying like this. Look, there are two ways a person can feel love for God. Revealed or not revealed. If the person is feeling it in a revealed way, which means he's on fire for God, of course he's going to behave properly. What's the question? Anything that is against God is out of question. No way. Okay, that's the beinoni. That's the tzaddik. Oh, Baruch Hashem, the tzaddik is constantly, thank God, feeling love for God. Very nice. But not everybody's a tzaddik. Actually, almost nobody's a tzaddik. So, what about the beinoni? The beinoni is feeling this while he's praying. Yep, he's feeling this. But when prayer finishes, he doesn't feel it anymore. So what helps the beinoni, the intermediate person, not become a rasha, a wicked person? What tools does he have? He's not a tzaddik, okay, I got it, but what tools does he have not to be a rasha, a wicked person? And the answer the Alter Rebbe is saying is because there's a hidden love over there. Of course, the wicked person also has this hidden love. Either because he's a Jew and has a godly soul with a hidden love and so on, or he's not a Jew or whatever, has these waters from below wanting to be close to God. So he also has that. Yeah, but we learned in chapter 11 about this guy. He can't control his passions. Either from time to time or frequently. Okay, that was chapter 11. In this particular case, the Alter Rebbe continues, what's the structure? What happens actually inside of a person, the beinoni, azai, then this is what actually happens in his life. It could be that there's the stupidity of this stupid, bad, evil in a revealed way in the left part of his heart. To have a passion, to desire all the physical things of this world, allowed things, forbidden things, whatever he desires, and he desires, as if he would never had prayed. So when prayer finishes, again, he is in the desert. It's difficult. My heart desires all kinds of things. It's true. Like, again, this is not a tzaddik. We're not talking about a tzaddik. He doesn't desire anything, the tzaddik. This guy desires. Of course he desires. As if he would have never prayed. But when we're talking about a forbidden thing from the Torah forbids something, or our sages, whatever, it doesn't come up in his mind to actually do it. God forbid. Only he has the imaginations of transgression, which is actually even worse than a transgression. That's what the Talmud says. That can actually come up from his heart, the left part of the heart, into his brain, and confuse him, bother him from learning Torah, from doing avoida, serving God, and so on. As our sages do say, there are three things that nobody gets saved. Every single day they happen. Like imagining doing a transgression and not paying attention during the prayer, just say it mechanically, blah, 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 and that's it. Rak. So again, what's the tool this guy has to fight against these passions? Not being a tzaddik. For this, there's a residue in his brain. And I mean, before going to the end, yeah. And this guy he was meditating during prayer. That meditation, it's a detailed meditation. He doesn't talk about this right now, Alter Rebbe. But the point is that he spent time meditating. And that meditation created in his heart fear for God and love for God. Now, you can't be meditating the whole day. What do you mean? I have to sell, buy, I have to do my things, whatever I do. So you can't concentrate in God every single moment of the day. But, and this is what Alter Rebbe is saying over here, when you actually did the exercise of meditating properly, something remains inside of you of that meditation that helps you throughout the rest of the day. There's a residue, there's a remaining of that meditation during the day in such a way that when you just remember a little bit of what you thought about, boom, the whole thing comes up in the mind. You don't need to think the whole thing again. Maybe by praying, you stop the prayer, you thought for 1 hour about one thing. I wish it would be more than 10 seconds, but whatever, 1 hour about one thing, and then you continue praying. That the result of 1 hour thinking or 30 seconds thinking, that has an effect during the rest of the day. And the fear for God and the love for God that are hidden in the right part of the heart, that helps this beinoni to overcome and to rule over the evil parts inside of himself that actually has a strong desire for whatever. In order that evil inside of himself should not have power, rule over the city, as we explained in chapter 9. To actually realize this passion from potential into reality, to get invested in the different members of the body. That means go do it, whatever it was that he desired. Even just in the brain, to think about it. It's a bad thing. Like a person thinks, I'm not doing anything. I'm just looking at this. It's so nice. I'm not doing anything. I didn't do anything. Wait a second. You're not in the right side. You're thinking about things you're not supposed to be thinking. Even in that, the evil parts inside of this beinoni don't have ruling power to think, even to think willingly with his brain. What does it mean, willingly? Very important word over here, even though it gets lost when you don't pay attention. We don't control what thoughts fall into mind. It's impossible. We don't control that. But we control what we contemplate on. Yes, we control that. That's what it means willingly. So the evil parts inside of a person don't have power to willingly make the brain think about a specific thing. To accept willingly, God forbid, this thought, which is an evil thought that comes up from the heart into the brain, rather, immediately when the person realizes that he's thinking something he's not supposed to be thinking, he pushes it with both hands, says Alter Rebbe, like strong. And you stop paying attention to that immediately. Immediately you remember, you realize what you're thinking about, immediately you stop thinking about it. When in the moment, I'm just jumping the words, in the moment you realize that it is a bad thought, you immediately leave it. And you don't receive it willingly, even to think about it willingly. How much more so to think about doing it actually, God forbid, or even to actually talk about it. No, you're not going to talk about it. Because a person that actually thinks about, transgressions and so on, willingly, in the moment that he's thinking about this, he's called a wicked person, a rasha. Beinonim, now the Alter Rebbe repeats what we said in the previous class. The beinoni, the intermediate person, is not called a wicked person, not even for a second. Never. So that means that how does the beinoni actually work? You have the beinoni while he's praying and the beinoni after prayer. Beinoni while he's praying, it's pretty easy. A God is helping him. He's feeling love for God. Everything goes so smooth, so nice. When he finishes praying, all the desires, evil desires that his heart actually has, come up to the brain and start pumping, so to speak, bad thoughts in the brain constantly. And the guy just kicks them away. As soon as he realizes that this is a bad thought, he kicks it away. Get out. I don't want to think about this. I don't want to talk about this. And of course, I don't want to do this, whatever it is. That's what a beinoni is. So, it's interesting. I just want to point this out again. When the beinoni is thinking something bad, evil, but he just doesn't realize how evil it is, or that it is evil, he's not called a rasha. He's not called a wicked person. There's no one single human being in the world that never thought a bad thought. And I don't mean a bad thought, if something bad is going to happen to me. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, I saw a tremendous girl in the street. Wow, I would like to. No, I don't want to. That's what he's talking about. This is forbidden. What do you mean? Yeah, I'm going to kill my neighbor because, I really am going to take a knife, and then with the knife I'm going to do like this. That's a bad thought. That's a bad thought. Now, again, the key point over here is, hey, did you realize this is a bad thought? No, I didn't realize. I'm sorry. I'm not going to think about this anymore. You're fine. You're a beinoni. Now, Did you realize this is a bad thought? Yeah, but I really want to do it. Okay, I'm not going to do it. Hey, you're a Rasha. You're a wicked person. You realized you're thinking something you're not supposed to be thinking, and you continue doing it. Oh, you're a wicked person. Even a thought. How much more so a speech? I want to talk to you the last thing I heard about blah, 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 this person. Oh, you see, he was so evil. Hey, you're saying Lashon Hara. Oi, I didn't realize. I can't say this. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not saying this anymore. You're fine. But if somebody tells you, hey, this is Lashon Hara. Yeah, I know that. Let's continue. Oh, that's a wicked person. Yeah, that's the difference. The same thing happens between not just in your relationship with God, that He knows the thoughts and so on, but also in your relationship with your fellow man or woman, whatever. Immediately when it comes up from the heart into the brain, some jealousy or some hatred, God forbid, or kina or kas, or again jealousy or anger or kpeda or something that really bothers you. This guy again did the same thing. It bothers me. But they may, and anything like that, he does not, the beinoni does not receive this in his brain willingly. No. It comes up, but he doesn't receive it. Adraba. On the contrary, the brain rules over the spirit in the heart. To do exactly the opposite. I hate this guy, I would kill him. I'm going to give a hug. I'm going to give him a hug. It is a classic expression. To behave with your fellow with the quality of kindness. Of chiba means like really being not in love, but whatever, with this person, you like this person, you appreciate this person. Lisboil mimenu ad ktseo acharon, and you stand and you bear from this person even to the extreme. You don't get angry. You don't get angry. Even you're supposed to be getting angry because this guy is doing this and that once again and another time and another time and again and again. No. You also don't revenge, don't pay, literal translation, don't pay him according to what he did to you. All the contrary. You actually give good things, kindness to those who did bad to you, as it's written in the Zohar. We have to learn from Yosef with his brothers. His brothers sold him, almost killed him, and so on, and he only gave them kindness. Only kindness. Once and again. So, what's the beinoni? Of course, we didn't finish, but then we have to go. Next chapters continue explaining the beinoni. But what's a beinoni? A beinoni is a person that has the classical conflict between good and evil inside of him. And the only difference with the tzaddik is that he continues having the conflict and he really feels bad thoughts and all kinds of evil things coming up in his brain, but he doesn't give them room. That's what a beinoni is. And he doesn't give them room to express itself in thought, speech, and action. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to talk about it. And of course, I'm not going to do what my heart is telling me to do. No, I'm not doing it. But does he feel it? Yes. Does he think about it sometimes? Yes. Until he realizes this is not good. Okay, over. I'm not thinking about this anymore. And he moves on. And even to people that really angers him and whatever, even in those cases, he does not get angry. It's a typical classical Baal Shem Tov teaching, don't get angry, for many reasons, whatever. It's not for now, but the point is in Hasidic thought, there's a lot of not getting angry, which actually people don't know because people don't know anything. This is not a Hasidic thing. This is a Kabbalah classical thing. It's also in the Talmud, but one of the main things and first things that I would say all the Mekubalim, all the writers of Kabbalah that write about learning Kabbalah and so on, they make introductions to their books. All of them say the same thing. If you get angry, this is not for you. Forget it. You can't learn whatever I'm going to teach you, say those books, if you get angry, if you're jealous, if you're... Like, people don't understand what kind of guys these guys are. People think, oh yeah, they know Chesed and Gvura, yeah, they get connected because they're in this. That's nothing. No. These are special people, really. At least, what Alter Rebbe is saying over here, at least they never get angry, they're not jealous, they don't have bad thoughts, they don't contemplate on those things. When they pray, they really feel it. At least.